What's up, guys? It's Chris. It's been a while. It's been a long ass while since I made one of these videos. I mean, I've been streaming time to time. I've been streaming in the past month because I was too busy enjoying my break. Um, but yeah, it's been a while since I made an update video. The last time was I think in a year and a half. I don't think I haven't even made any mini updates. Like I've just streamed time to time. It's like, why am I gonna make an update when I'm streaming time to time? People just asking there and stuff like that. So I was like, yeah, I'm not really gonna make an update because it's like, I was busy with school and stuff. But now, it's been 3 years. So I was like, you know what, 3 year mark, I should probably make a video. Because I'm probably not gonna make many of these after this. Maybe mini updates here and there if I like start getting heavily into Japanese again, like really, really heavily. But other than that, I'm just kind of living my life and just kind of in Japanese, just kind of integrated into it by this point. There are definitely a lot of things I need. Still need to work on. Vocabulary is always going to be a thing to work on because that's what it is. Whenever you get into a different subject or a different area of entertainment, something, there's always going to be different vocabulary that's generally going to be used in that area, and you gotta learn it. So that's something that's never ending. Pretty much, you're always gonna have to deal with that. And I just kind of came to terms with that. I'm used to it at this point. So it's been 3 years now since I started learning Japanese, pretty much. I'm recording this on the 26th of January. And it's like, after all this time, Japanese is just so normal to me. I mean, there's still definitely a lot that I don't always pick up on, depending on what it is I'm reading. Because, I mainly stick to like all the weeb stuff, right? Like anime, light novels, manga. Sometimes I've read interviews with, light novel artists or manga artists, watch YouTube and stuff like that. But, like generally it's in the same area of like the same niche sort of otaku culture thing is usually where most of my interest lies. So that's where that's where I've learned most of my stuff. So it's like I'm at a point where it'd be nice to get better, especially reading wise for me, because my listening, it could definitely use some work. But the thing is that aside from watching anime and the occasional YouTube videos, I don't listen to, like, there isn't really anything else I want to do in terms of listening to Japanese. Like, that would be more useful if I was actually like conversing with Japanese people on a regular basis. But since I'm not, I don't particularly care about it that much anymore because improving my listening isn't going to be that much of an issue for me at this point. If I really want to do it. And it's kind of the point where, like, even if I read more, it's not gonna do that much to my listening, because since I have, since I started off doing more listening than reading, and I got to a good enough level, it's like I'm just kind of good to where I'm at. And if I do want to improve, I can always do that. Go back to sometimes taking off and putting on the subtitles and working on actively trying to listen and looking at words while listening to anime and stuff like that. Like I can do all that, if I really want to like really, really improve my listening, because there's some things that I like don't necessarily pick up on when I'm listening, when I'm watching anime or something. Like some words that kind of fly over my head sometimes. It depends on the show, because it's like very specific vocabulary that's unique to that show, and that exists pretty much everywhere. But yeah, aside from that, it's like I'm at a point where I don't have any issue enjoying all the media that I set out to be able to enjoy when I first started learning. Like I've kind of hit my goal already. And I don't particularly have the desire to take this that much further, So, after being able to read manga, light novels, watch anime, and play Japanese games, like I'm kind of good at this point. Like I still go out of my way to buy and play games in Japanese. at least for Japanese games specifically. And I still read light novels on a regular basis, and a manga sometimes. Manga, it depends, really. Um, I'm just looking at what I have, and it's like there's some unread stuff, but most of the manga I have, except for some that I kind of just think that, like, I've thought for a long time that I'm pretty much just gonna drop. Um, I've read most of the ones I wanted to read, at the very least. Actually, now looking at it, there's some that I probably should read some of, because they've been sitting there for at least a year unread. Because the last time I went to buy books was before Corona, so you can imagine how long some of those have been sitting there. And also, I have some paper light novels, but I'll get to those eventually. Most of them are pretty easy. I've only read like 2 light novels in paper in recent memory. What was it? Oh, I don't even know if I want to call it a light novel. It was a 2-part novel series. That was actually pretty nice. Like, I actually got pretty hooked on it, and I finished that. That was fun. I just keep forgetting I have stuff on paper because it's more convenient to read stuff digital because it's easier to look up words and stuff like that. I've already mentioned this many times before. But reading on paper is nice time to time. The main thing about reading digitally, and this is also why I like visual novels a lot, is that when I read, I don't know why, but I guess it's because of school, but I put too much attention onto the page numbers. Like, I'm looking at, oh, I read 15 pages, or I read 20 pages, or I read 30 pages, whatever. And it's like, it just kind of kills it's a killjoy for me. Because it's like, in school, the goal would be to read up to whatever chapter, was assigned. And then it's like, oh my God, finally I'm done. But now I'm like, kind of like doing that same thing when I'm reading light novels and on paper. And that it just kind of ruins the experience. Like, it's easier for me to read by looking by chapter, or like, or just having like a wall of text digitally until it reaches the end of the novel. It's just like, or like seeing on Kindle, for example, the percentage that I've completed of the novel instead of the page numbers. Like, I don't know, it just doesn't register in my head the same way as page numbers do. Page numbers is just like, it's like evil for me. It's like, I don't know what it is, but it makes it harder for me to get through paper light novels because I pay so much attention to them instead of just sitting down and just reading and just enjoying. Like, I'm always worrying about how much I've gotten through. But like by page number, if that, I don't know, it's weird, but like, it's the page numbers specifically that are really that it just makes it hard for me to get through the book like as quickly as I want to, because I can read light novels at a reasonable speed. I've gone through easier ones in a single day, so it's just a matter of I guess perception for me for when I read stuff. I mean, it could also be that, I was going to say that it could also be that I can look up stuff easier on the digital ones, and that's part of it. But, considering that sometimes I skip over stuff I don't know because I can still get pretty much all of the story without it because it's so easy for, like, I'm talking about easier light novels. I don't particularly care to look up every single thing. So there's that. And then it's just like I know I'm going all over the place, and I know my videos are always like this because I can't be bothered to like edit and stuff like that. But how do I put this? Like, it's just reading digital is just a lot more convenient for me, I guess. I guess it's because I also read so many web novels, also like before I started Japanese, even after, like Chinese web novels translated, and it's just like I've been used to like just scrolling through stuff and being able to read it quickly, and it's easier to do that when I'm reading digitally, even for Japanese stuff. Like, I can kind of do the same thing now. Like, if it's a light novel that's relatively like easy, I can like skim through it and get most of the information I need like really quick. But with paper, I don't know, like I have to really focus, and it's just like, I guess because of technology and social media, I have like the attention span of a bird, which is like which is like non-existent, in other words. um so yeah, that makes it a lot harder to just sit down and read a paperback book, because I have a couple things to read there. Like, I have at least like couple volumes of Monogatari, and like what, like three three or four volumes of some other stuff, So yeah, that's the thing. So yeah. But I'm not too worried about that now because I'm not planning on buying any physical copies of. The only thing I'll buy physical copies of is manga, and games. If they're cheaper physical. But like, I'm not buying any physical novels or light novels or any of that for a long while. It's just like, unless I get the money to buy like a series I really like, you know, it's not happening. It's just because, like, with how many I've left sitting there, it's like I'm not gonna buy more just to leave them sitting on my bookshelf. It's a nice bookshelf. I feel really good about it, but I'm not gonna add more to it and just waste more money on it. That's like, I've already spent enough money on it, and there's a lot of stuff that I haven't read, and that's just like money sitting there. So I'm not gonna go and buy more stuff. But yeah, that's basically that's kind of where I'm at, I guess. I know it's kind of like, my thoughts are kind of all over the place, but I'm at the point where there isn't really that much to say, to be real with you guys. Like, I can read. My speaking is, like, I can do it, but I don't speak with Japanese people regularly, So that's why my speaking is lacking. Like, I'm gonna upload a video. There's gonna be a video after this, either the same day or the next day, where I'm gonna speak Japanese again, similar to the last one I did. But and I do, and it's better than before. It's better than before, but again, I don't talk to Japanese people regularly, so there's a lot of problems that come with not outputting regularly that makes you not sound not as good as people who output regularly, who immersed for a long time. So just keep that in mind, before you tell me that my Japanese sucks. Is like, compared to some other guys, like, well, they've probably been speaking Japanese regularly more than I have. So there's that, because there's a lot of things that you pick up on when you speak regularly, and there's a lot, and you get used to expressing yourself. So the more you do it, the easier it becomes. But since I don't do it regularly, it's a bit hard. It takes me a bit more time to like try to get my thoughts out. So there's that. I'm mostly doing it to kind of overwrite the previous one, and because like, the previous one was terrible. Like, I'm leaving it up because I also just don't think about it. But man, that's like, looking back on it, I was like, oh man, can you stop with the ums and shit? Like, bro, like, speak, please, thoughts. Like, my head is like, it's like these mean. It's like my head. It got all these thoughts, and the only thing comes out is like that. That was basically that video. But in the next one, I'm gonna try and just and be more consistent in terms of like talking throughout the video in Japanese and expressing myself, because I know I can do it. It's just that I often can't come up with the right words to express certain things because I'm not used to like taking all of that information out of my subconscious and using it regularly in like in output, It's one of those things where you have to do it regularly so that you can like recall everything you need to express yourself regularly. So there's that. But yeah, I mean, there isn't really much more to say. Like, I mean, if you guys, if you just look at my YouTube channel, like, I've streamed a lot, multiple times. Like, sometimes I don't play games in English. Sometimes I play them. Sometimes I don't play in Japanese and play in English. Like, when I stream Doom Eternal randomly, or like uh I guess Titanfall that one time, but most of the time I'm playing Japanese games. Like I played some Ys, I played some Chrono Trigger, um, like Ori and the Will of the Wisp. Like, you know, I just kind of chill. I just kind of vibe and just play kind of whatever's on my PC, essentially. Most of the time it's some Japanese games. Sometimes it's not. It depends on my mood. But you know, I'm still using Japanese regularly, and that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I'm comfortable. You know, I can understand anime without really an issue. Light novel is not really an issue. Manga without much of an issue. There's just words that I forget here and there, readings that I forget here and there. Sometimes words where I don't pay attention to the readings for so long that I know what it means, but not the reading. And you know, that's not an issue when reading, but you know, it becomes an issue when you're trying to speak, because then you realize, oh crap, I don't know how to say that word, even though I know what it is. So that's really what I need to fix, but it's just because I don't really have much of a desire to go out of my way and go find native Japanese speakers to talk to, whether it's on Discord, VR chat, whatever. Like that's not something that I really want to put a lot of my energy towards right now, because there are a lot of other things I need to focus on besides the fact that college is starting again next week. You know, it's like Japanese will always be there. Like I've already gotten all the fundamentals down. Like I've gotten everything. Like I'm past the sucky phase. You know, I'm never going back to the sucky phase. Like it's not happening, because you know, I'm too much of a weeb for that to happen. And got too many games, got too many manga, light novels. I'm not going back there. So, you know, I always have the option when I have when I want to, like, if I ever want to go and like really focus on improving Japanese at one point, I'll be able to do that, you know, at a later time if I want to. But it's just like right now, I'm just kind of living with it like regularly, like in my day-to-day life, like English, Japanese, Spanish. It's just use the 3 day-to-day life, just multilingual thing, and that's about it, you know. Because you know, right now there's some other things I want to do. That's personal though, but I mean, I might talk about it in a video like in a couple years time, something like that. We'll see, but that's not something that I'm gonna be talking about right now. And so, yeah, I mean, I guess that's really all I have to say. It's just, you know, I want to say more, but there isn't really much for me to say, because, you know, it's just an update on my progress, and my progress, like, you know, it kind of went down. I guess I'll say this. It kind of went down during college, you know, especially like towards the middle and towards the end of last semester. Like I was like I was legit like in fear, because my one of my classes, oh my god, I was kicking my ass. I mean, I got a good grade at the end, but it's like, you know, it's, you know, when you take like 15 hours like on your weekend or something to like study for like one exam for one class, just to hope that you don't get below the 65 is just like, bruh. So yeah, there was that. So I didn't focus much during that time. But over this break, like, you know, I finished you know, volume 18 of Mushoku Tensei. I read some, even while I was stressed with school, I was still reading some light novels time to time. Like I was reading light novels to chill out, you know? Like it's not that Japanese is like a chore anymore. Like it's part of my life. Like I can, you know, read stuff to relax in Japanese, you know. So that's nice. And yeah. So I'm good. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna kind of end it off here, because it's about to be 20 minutes in, and I don't want to make this more than 20 minutes, because it really doesn't have to be. Anything else I say, it's not really gonna make that much of a difference. And honestly, you know, I guess if anyone have questions, you could leave it in the comments, and I'll probably eventually get to them. But for now, this is pretty much it. I mean, you know, I'm gonna make the video of me speaking Japanese, and then after that, that's about it for me. So I'll see you guys in the video where I speak Japanese again. Please don't hurt me. It's not as it's probably I don't know if it's gonna be as good as people think it's gonna be, but it'll be better than the last one, and that's the only thing I can promise you, to be honest with you. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.